In the last lecture, we worked on the search functionality of the Cineflix project. Now in this lecture, we are going to work on the filter functionality. So we want to allow users to filter movies by the genre. If you see, in this application, we have filter by genre option where the users can filter the movies by the genre. So when the action is selected, then only the movies where the genre is action, that should be displayed. When sci-fi is selected, only those movies where the genre is sci-fi, that should be displayed. When drama is selected, the movies with the genre drama, that should be displayed. And when all is selected, in that case, all the movies should be displayed. So we are going to implement this functionality in this lecture. So let me copy this comment, and here we want to implement filter movie by genre functionality. Let's see how we can do that. So for that, first of all, I'm going to create a function, and I'm going to call this function as filter by genre. And this function is going to receive the genre. Okay, now here let me save the changes. And now if I go to the HTML page, there you will see here in this section filter by genre, you will see that we have some radio buttons, and we are creating those radio buttons by using this input type equal to radio, and each radio button has a name and it has a value. So now what we want is we want to read the value of currently selected radio button. So for example, if drama radio button is selected, we want to read the value of that radio button. Basically we want to read this value, and then we want to use this value for filtering the movies. Now, how are we going to do that? For that, on each of these radio buttons, we are going to listen for on click event. And whenever this on click event will happen, we are going to call this filter by genre function. And when we are calling this function, we want to pass the radio button which is clicked. So here I can simply pass this, because this here will point to this radio button, and from that radio button, from the selected radio button, we will read its value. Let's do the same thing for other radio buttons. So let me copy this, and let's also add it on this radio button where the genre is action. So here this will point to this radio button where the genre is action. Then let's do the same thing here for the sci-fi radio button. Let's do this for drama radio button, and let's also do this for comedy radio button. So now whenever a radio button will be selected, this filter by genre method will be called, and to that filter by genre, the currently selected radio button will be passed as the argument. So here, instead of calling it as genre, I'll call it as selected radio button maybe, because for this parameter, we are going to receive a radio button. This here, it is going to point to a radio button. All right. Now, let me save the changes here in the HTML file. Let's go to script.js file. And the first thing which I'm going to do is here I'll say console.log, and here I'll say selected radio button dot value. Let me open developer console, and let's clear everything here. Now when I select all, you will see all is logged. When I select sci-fi, you will see sci-fi is logged. When I select comedy, comedy is logged. So in this way, we are able to read the value of the selected radio button. Let me go ahead and let me store it in a variable so that we can use it later. So let's say selected genre equals, we are reading the value from the selected radio button and we are assigning it to the selected genre. All right. Now, let me also go ahead and let me create an empty array, and I'll call it as filtered movies. You can name it anything. And here initially it is going to be an empty array. Now we are going to check if this selected genre, if it is equal to all. In that case, we want to display all the movies. So in that case, I'm going to set this filtered movies to the movies array which we have at the top, basically to this movies array. Okay, So let's set it here. So when the user will select this all radio button, we want to display all the movies. Otherwise, if the selected genre is something else, for example, if it is action, sci-fi, drama, comedy, anything, then we want to filter the movie based on the genre. So that logic we are going to write inside this else. So inside this else condition, we are going to use filter method on the movies array. So here will say movies dot filter, and here we want to filter those movies. So for each iteration, we are going to receive a movie object for the callback function which we are passing to this filter method. So for each movie, we want to check if movie.genre dot includes. We will use includes method because this genre, it is an array, right? So inside that array, we want to check if we have a movie genre which is equal to the genre which we are going to receive in this selected genre. So if any movie whose genre, so this genre is going to be an array. If the movie genre array contains the selected genre, for example, if comedy is selected, we will check if the genre array of a movie contains comedy, then we want to filter that movie. Okay, so this is the filter logic, and we know that this filter method is going to return us a new array. We are going to assign that new array to this filtered movies variable. All right, let's save the changes. And finally, once the movies are filtered, we also want to re-render the UI. So for that, I'm going to call render all movies. And to this render all movies, we are going to pass this filtered movies for this movies parameter. So this render all movies, it is expecting a value for the movie list parameter. For this movie list parameter, we are passing the filtered movies array. All right, with this, let's save the changes and let's see if the functionality works or not. So for example, if I select comedy here, it should filter only those movies whose genre contains comedy in it. But as you can see, it has not filtered it. Let me refresh the page. Let's try again. So the movie is not getting filtered. Let's try to understand why. And for that, let me go ahead and let me log this filtered movies. Let's save the changes. Let's open developer console. Let's clear everything here. And when I click on this comedy, here it says we have an error and it says assignment to constant variable. All right, that might be because this filtered movies, since it is created using const keyword, when we are trying to change its value, it will not allow it because it is a constant. So let's use this let keyword here. Let's save the changes now. Now if I click on comedy, now you will see that we do not have any error and the movie is filtered based on the genre. So there is only one movie in our movies array where the genre is comedy that has been filtered here. If I click on drama, then it has filtered all the movies where the genre contains drama in it. If I select sci-fi, then the movies where the genre contains sci-fi in it, that has been filtered. For action, in our movies list, all the movie objects has this genre action. So all the movies have been filtered here. So if I select drama and if I select all now, for drama we have 3 movies, and if I select all, it will filter all the movies. I mean, it would display all the movies which we have in the movies array. And here also, the sorting should still be working. So it is working as expected. And the searching, this should also be working. All right. So in this way, we have implemented filter by genre functionality. And for that, we have used this filter method. This filter is an array method to filter elements from an array. And in the condition, we have used this includes method, which can be used on a string or an array. Here, we are using this includes method to check if in the movies array, we have any movie whose genre includes the selected genre. All right, so this is all I wanted to cover in this lecture. If you have any questions from this lecture, then feel free to ask it. Thank you for listening and have a great day.